Namaste, buddy. Welcome back, everyone. This is episode 3 of Modathon, and today we are going to be working on our Defender once again. The 3 mods that we're going to be doing from Injora. The brass and black casters. These guys took a little while to come in. They look so good though. I love that the brass. I love the brass trim that they got on them as well. And once again, our black and brass diff covers. I was waiting for these bad boys. And the third one that we have today is going to be our brass steering knuckles, the black and brass trim. They look really good too. I really like those. They really got some weight. I don't remember exact weight. Today's focus is going to be on our front end. We have done a few little nitbits in the front already, but it's time for those caster blocks, steering knuckles, and good old diff covers. I'm really excited. These look so good. I'm gonna start taking that stuff apart, but what we're gonna do is move that off to the side, take our battery out. I really like unplugging this so that I can comfortably set it upside down without trying to break anything or bend a wire too much, maybe mess up a connector. So I think today we're gonna take off the front wheels, get those brass caster blocks and the brass steering knuckles on here, and then after that we're gonna go ahead and head on into our diff covers. Let's get started. All right, we now have our front tires off, and with the front tires off and the wheel hubs, these 2 screws, we're gonna take those out, plus our 2 sides here on the caster blocks, top and bottom. That will allow us to take all of this stuff, all of the steering knuckle and the caster blocks after we get underneath. After taking your 2 screws off of these, you take your bottom and your top screw off of the caster blocks. Then you also have the 2 screws, just like the rear axle, like in my previous video. Be sure to check that out for me. Just take those on out, and it's pretty much ready to pull right on off. But be careful of your bearing. Definitely want to keep track of those bearings. And there you have it, easy as that. After these 2 come out, you have your bearings still set in there alongside, so it just comes right on out. Actually, might even fall off, so be careful. Make sure your area is nice and secure. I definitely need to, for sure need to get a mat. As you can tell, this is not very organized. So all I gotta do with our caster blocks, we're gonna take these on out. Ooh, that one felt really satisfying. All the other ones have ripped. All right, and there we go. I found that very interesting. They have one in the bag and one outside the bag. That's kind of funny to me. I'm sorry. I love you, Injora. Thank you very much. These are awesome. Okay, it was. Oh my goodness, these look really, really, really good. One side of your smallest either Allen key or something, and you kind of hit the back of the bearing, pop right on out. So now, boom, bearing from the caster block is now out. Grab that little guy, put it right back on in there. This is the hard part, is getting it nice and straight, so I recommend grabbing your tool once again. You can kind of help it out and kind of wiggle it a little bit. Just stick it through here and kind of wiggle it, and it'll help seat it a little bit smoother. Next up, this little guy, once again, Might need to do a little bit of both sides. There we go. Again, like in the last video, I really need to get a bearing kit. I truly recommend you grabbing a bearing kit. There are a few websites that have it. I know Little Guy Racing, I believe Injora sells a bearing kit now. And of course you can still go with Traxxas with their $40 bearing kit. Second bearing out. Oh. Our bagged caster block. Also does come with all the hardware you need, by the way. Sorry, totally forgot about that. Yeah, this really helps seat it correctly. It just plopped right on in there, no problem. If you haven't already like messed with your bearings quite a bit, they might be a little stretched or whatnot. They could just go in no problem. If they're newer bearings, they might be a little hard to get into the brass. After the bearing has been set in, you have to put the top pieces on here. Little like retainers for the hardware. They don't just drill a hole straight through the actual brass. So they have little tiny spacers. Oh man. Little tiny spacers, and it will not focus, will it? But yeah. So it will have a lipped side on the top. There it is. A little lipped side. Hardware sits in here, and then this goes in between to be the spacer for the actual steering block. So recommend actually setting these on first. And they do set in and they slot, so it'll be super easy to put them back together. Make sure to grab the right screw. There is a printed logo on the top there, so I recommend maybe putting that, you know, right side up. But it does seat in perfectly, so there's like little lip right here plus these little guys. Really helps out, you know, just slot it on there and it stays nice to put without even putting your screws in. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that now. Caster blocks are now on, and this thing is looking so good. Okay, up next we have the steering knuckles, and there are two bearings. There's one in the front and a big boy in the back. So you will have to pop those off just like we did with the caster blocks. So once again, a little screwdriver, you can try to just boop. And then same with the other side. The other side might be a little bit trickier. You may not be able to get the, yeah, can't really get a good angle on that, because it's the whole thing is a giant bearing. So this one might be a little bit more difficult to get off. Recommend a flathead. So once again, bearing in the front, another bearing in the back. It's the whole bearing. So it literally goes in about yay deep, okay, to the end of my actual finger, not my fingernail. So it is a pretty decently wide bearing. So you got to pop that guy out. So I did get it out. If you have the $25 Traxxas toolkit, the best way to get it out would be your little, it's not going to focus, I'm sorry, your little flathead screwdriver, and you kind of pop it in at the bottom. Go ahead and just give it a good little yank. It's gonna be a lot easier with the plastic ones. They have some flexibility, so you can just full on pry it out. Be careful with it still though, it is plastic. But I'll say, so once again, for the back bearing, you can just kind of push on it, pushes it right on out. And then this guy, you kind of, I would recommend grabbing your thumbs here, and you can just give it a nice little push. Give it a little bit of a wiggle, back and forth, side to side, and voila. All right, yeah, you're probably going to be stretching this out a little bit. So unless you're for sure not going to come back to your, your plastic steering knuckle, you may stretch it out a little bit. Otherwise, I recommend an actual tool, which I'm sorry I do not have any info for. All right, so now we have both our big guys and both the little guy bearings out. We're gonna set him off to the side. Okay, so I realize I've been saying bearing this whole time, and I forgot that they don't actually come with bearings in the stock version. So it's kind of just a spacer. Um, and this one's pretty dirty. As you can see, it's kind of got, I did do a little bit of mudding, so every once in a while I want to, clean them off. So now I for sure am lagging on getting my bearing kit. I definitely need to get that, so I'll have to redo this all over again. But it seems like yeah, forgot. It's not a bearing. So disregard my whole bearing talk. Your spacers. Now that I have all 4 of my spacers out. Once again, oh, and again, very satisfying. The other's ripped. That was 2. I feel, man. We have one side that is off, and once again, it really cracks me. They give you a show, so you can kind of see one of them outside, and then you have the double bagged one. So I mean, I guess I can see what you're doing there, Injora. That's good. Some good marketing. So wrong one. Handy knife again. Don't keep open. Close your knives. Don't be like me. Steering knuckle hardware. There's looks like there's 2 thick ones in there as well. And when you do get them, they also have right and left. Just kind of right there. So you get your right side and your left side. It's pretty nice actually. Grab our spacer. Carefully set it on in there. Grab our small guy. It looks like it went in pretty nicely, so that's good. After all of our spacers have been set in, everything's ready to go. Grab our axle once again. Stick the axle on in there. Got a cat hair. Axle. And then right now I'm doing the right one first. So we set that right up in there. And it's a perfect fit as per usual. Alright, so we have the caster block screws that we got. Goes right through the caster. One little side note, I kind of noticed that they give you extra caster block screws. These small screws are actually for the caster block. So if you didn't end up getting another caster block, if you didn't get the brass caster block on your own and you only got the steering knuckle, it gives you the screws that you need for the actual top of the steering knuckle instead of it being the stock little screws. And once you have put in, wrong side. Once you have put in your top and bottom on the caster blocks, then it's time to reattach our steering arm to the actual steering knuckle, which I am struggling with. Oh yeah, it goes through the bottom, not through the top. Just a friendly reminder. So now we have one side already on, ready to go. Loving it, loving it. Looks so good. Thank you again, Injora. You are doing great things with RCing, and truly, truly appreciate your guys' efforts. When you do have these steering knuckles, everything's set to go, you've just put all your stuff back together, you're now going to want to be careful of your 2 end spacers on the steering knuckles because they can fall off. So, careful. Oh, this thing feels solid. Wow, okay. now I'm lifting this with all the weight. I cannot wait to put these diff covers on, so that's what we're going to be doing next. Next up, we have the brass diff covers. These are the last of our 3 mods today. Really excited for this again. Once again, as in my previous video, just best way I felt to do it to get to these diff covers would just be taking off the long links 1 and 2, and just you're able to just pull on up, ready to go. There. All right. Bam. Last piece. Last piece to the puzzle. See? That's what every one of them have been doing so far. So the fact that I had 2 clean ones just felt really satisfying. Almost done now. Last mod of the day. Grab a handy dandy bag opener. Just have a pile of plastic over here. Today we're dealing with brass, not plastic. It's really funny. Like, I know that a lot of people have already done like the diff thing. There are hundreds of videos of people doing the diff covers, but I mean, I figured I'd share another little point of view on it. Maybe a different way. You know, never know. Hopefully this helps. So once again, boom, got your diff cover. Throw it right on there, just like factory fit, and that's it. So grab all your new screws, because you have the old little plastic ones, or the old little ones for the plastic, and then our new ones are actually a silver, which I actually kind of like the little bit of bolt detailing. I feel like it's gonna look really nice with it. It's just going to be the same thing for the front end. I tend to just take my long links off, and you don't have as much play as you would in the back. Decent enough play to get on in there. Make sure you can get your screws once you have these 2 long links off. So just going to go ahead and get that done real quick, and we'll be back.